There we go. Welcome back. Or welcome. I guess welcome would probably be a more apt description because there's like 3 of you that are welcome back worthy. We're going to do a little bit more on my miniature humans little unicorn purse. No, I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, I am entirely making this up. Yes, I am entirely honest with you when I say I'm completely making this up. I have an idea from a tandy leather pattern. No, I've never owned it. Giving full credit where credit is due. But we're going to try some shit. See if I can actually make this work. So come on along. I'll be back in a couple minutes once we, let things run as they should. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, so let's see what we got. Nothing? Why can't I get this to work? Oh shit, here we go. It's up too far. There we go. We working now? Give me a thumbs up. Cheers, you fucking heathen. We're not talking about this because there may or may not be a mild amount of crippling addiction. Instead of my current name, I should be called Inebriated Leatherworks. That's a thing. Just standing here talking to myself is really boring. Let's get some tunes going. So, you haven't been here before. Last time we did a little bit of dyeing, stitched it together. This is for my oldest miniature human. She loves her some purple. So adjust this down. We're doing some purple thread. Let's get after it. Okay. I'm gonna do some stitching. Then we might get into some edge dressing here. My old lady, that's a term of endearment to me and to her, might come by a little bit later. She might not. If she doesn't, get over it. If she does, welcome her with open arms. If you don't, I will be very perturbed. So I'm going to start with some stitching holes. Straight up just to whack. And we got all the way through on the tines. First tine, last hole. See, we got all the tines through. Rock them back and forth to get them out a little easier. It's easier with this because I'm doing stuff for a 7-year-old, so I can't really go super heavy on the thickness of leather. And this, I'm just doing a wing divider to set my stitch away from the edge depth. That ran away from me like a motherfucker. The good thing about not using the stitching groover is kind of just draws a line on it. You're gonna have to excuse me. I will say things, one, that will honestly probably startle you, but don't make any fucking sense. Don't ask me. I don't understand either. I've been hit in the head a lot. So for people just joining us, I mentioned in chat, a good friend of mine asked me what I was doing. Makes sense because never been here before. I am making a unicorn-shaped purse for my miniature humans. It'll have a... I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. This is gonna be the main. Nice pearlescent. Good chrome tan. It's gonna flop over. This is gonna be the body. And I'm gonna make tassels that, well, fall over. It's gonna be cute and shit. I think my miniature humans will love it. It's the first time I've shown that piece of leather on stream. Get the information while it's hot. Now, just feeling for tines on the back side. Make sure I'm not folding over. Making sure it's laying down flat, vertical. I want the leather to lay down flat here. And my pricking iron to be straight vertical. Because if I do it at an angle, the needle will try to go in at an angle and it will pull the seam in weird ways. There's nothing scientific. It's mostly artistic here, but there's a science behind the art form that I'm just trying to follow. And really, I'm just kind of making shit up as I go because I've got a basic outline for what I need. Let's see if it works. And by the way, welcome, Romero. I haven't spoken to you in shit. It's what? 4 years now? Welcome. Thank you, my brother. I hope you're doing all right. Romero and I, we done some stuff together. I ain't giving up his information. Without his permission. But we done some stuff together in our past, and it's good to talk to him. I love you, my brother. And this, I got multiple sizes here. I got a one pin, a 2 pin, a 4, and I believe it's a, what is that, a 6 pin. They're 5 mil apart, and it's just easier to get around. That's just to make it, hell, I can just punch that through on the 2 pin. Some are to make some distance. Some are to make sharper corners. Love you, my brother. And yes, there is actually a 15-second delay. He mentioned it on chat. There's a 15-second delay to allow you heathens to say some disgusting, repulsive stuff and me to approve or deny it. Hence the miss you explicative. Old lady is texting me. Again, I'm not going to make up a goofy name for y'all. You're just the weirdos that find shit like this interesting. Or people who I've met before and take pity on me. Probably more the latter than the prior. And anybody who sees this, you included, if you want something, Vastic Armory and Leatherwork.com is a thing. It might be a little bit hard to find right now. I'm working on it. I've done some nerd things in my past. I'm the dumb redneck of the nerds. So I'm working on it. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Most of the shit that I bought for this, other than the leather itself, because you can't cheap out on leather, don't do it. I promise you. It will end up in more heartache than you want. Don't buy Herman Oak. If you're getting into leather and you're looking into it, you'll know what I mean. Don't buy Herman Oak. But don't buy craft store horse shit. Just don't do it. It will end up in more heartache than you're willing to withstand. And you will quit. And I don't want that. Tools, Harbor Freight, my friend. How does it smack any different than a $30 Weaver leather mallet? And yes, I'm supposed to smack these. I'm feeling a certain type of aggression based on the day I've had. So I'm just going to push this motherfucker through. Yeah, exactly. It should be better because it's more expensive. Because expensive is more better. No. They make rawhide ones from Weaver. One of the, to me, it's the top brand that you're getting retail stuff from. Weaver leather. They're great stuff. How does a $30 rawhide mallet smack any more than a $6 Harbor Freight one? So that's actually a really good question. Where I am, I'm in Maryland. I'm semi-rural Maryland. If I get an emergency rush order, I get my stuff from the physical local Tandy store. The question was, where do I get my leather that I'm working on? There's a store exceptionally local to me that has a very slim supply that I'll go into occasionally just to get some stock. If I'm working on a specific thing and I need a specific piece of leather right now, I'll go to the local Tandy brick and mortar store. But if I have enough time that I can wait, I will get it from Weaver Leather Supply. Because Weaver Leather Supply, other than issues with shipping because they use FedEx, don't ask me. I have an axe to grind with FedEx, and I will always have an axe to grind with FedEx. Or I will get it from Springfield Leather, or I will get it from Rocky Mountain Leather Supply. They're the three best. They give you the best quality stuff for the price. If you're willing to sacrifice a little bit on quality for quite a bit drop in price, the Buckle Guy is probably the best. You don't get great quality, but you get it at an exceptional price. And yes, the DMV is a very specific beast. It takes a very specific type of person, and I wish I could say that I was not one of them. But money is here. Let's fucking send it. Time to get to stitching. Generally, a rule of thumb is 4. Because I'm using a saddle stitch, which I'll explain in a second, I do 5 just to give me some extra thread. Trim a little bit on a corner. Hammer it down. Because now I work construction. Be a concrete worker and try to thread a needle. I dare you. I dare you. Hey, gotta make that money somewhere, right? Just fucking get after it. And I say I'm a concrete worker. Really, I drive a truck for a concrete company. No, I don't drive a concrete truck. I drive a dump truck or a roll-off truck for a concrete company. But in a pinch, I help out. I pour concrete. And this is my stitching pony. It's my third hand. I'm gonna end up clamping this, and I have it's made of wood, but I have the same type of leather on my jaws here. I cut it and glued it myself. Contact cement for the win. Woodworkers will understand what I mean. But it's just to prevent marring on the face of my project. Yeah, I've thought very long and hard about doing that exact same thing. But, and I don't feel comfortable saying this, it's in my bio. The VA decided they were going to tell me that it's not service related. So, I'm just going to keep grinding. Fuck it! Lucky bitch. So saddle stitch. I got 2 needles, single thread. I'm evening them out right now. And then I'm going to go through one side. Cross them. It creates a lock stitch. Pull them through both sides. And because I'm using real thin leather, I'm not going to pull them like, I'm not going to straight hulk out. Yes, we are. Entirely getting off topic because we haven't spoken in how many years? I was at your going away party. It was a so-so margarita, and you can't convince me otherwise. I mean, I'd like to see you try, but you won't be able to. Spicy and margaritas shouldn't be together. Yeah, true. I've had some mean margaritas out here, though. And yes, we're literally just chatting between the two of us. But I've had some pretty damn good margs out here. Especially since I've started working construction where I'm the odd one out. If you understand what I mean. I'm very sure you do, but You, I forget what the name of the place was that we went to. It was... It was a Mexican place, but it was like a... It was a whitewashed Mexican place. He had a bunch of friends out there. He got me this... And you paid for it. So... Yeah, it was Chewy's. It was Chewy's. Their jalapeno margarita. I've never seen you with such a hurt expression when I told you that I will drink this one, but you don't have to get me another one because I won't drink the next one. It was actually really funny. It was like a... It's like a pug that's been kicked and sprayed with cold water at the same time. I saw the bartender. He was not white. I glow at night, so I can't mention race without getting in trouble, but he was definitely not white. He was definitely of a significantly more tan complexion than me. Tamarind is a pretty damn good marg. And just to counteract what you're saying, yeah, mango tahini, but best marg I've ever had. Take it from the master of like 4 margaritas. The Broken Skull margarita from Stone Cold Steve Austin. Best margarita on the planet. You will never find a better one. You use cheap tequila, you'll never taste the tequila. 2 down like orange juice in the morning, and then you're falling over. It's great. Fantastic. The old lady doesn't think so as much, but I digress. You gotta stop drinking so much. Yes. Because it's like a double and a half-ish, depending on who's pouring. He said it's a my kind of brunch marg. Yes. I think I gotta say the best marg I ever had was probably in Chicago. It was at this like authentic, non-authentic fusion type Mexican restaurant. Anybody who has any type of Hispanic blood understands what I mean. They cook authentic Hispanic dishes, but they have 2 different types of menu. They have the authentic menu and then the white people menu. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I come from the type of person that mild Buffalo Wild Wings wings. Yeah, give me some ranch. I had a bad experience in Korea, actually, of all places. I know. I get it. Whatever. The NCO on CQ thought it would be funny to give my absolutely inebriated ass a dried ghost pepper. Didn't tell me a fucking thing. Said, hey, you want a snack? So I'm walking in. Yeah, right? Korean, a bad experience. Riddle me, color me surprised. But I was walking in. I was well before curfew, because curfew was still a thing. Dating myself. But I walked in. I was rather inebriated. Surprise. My old lady's going to be violently surprised that me and inebriated. That was 2016, 2017, I think. Yeah, had to be 2016 into 2017. Because they had gotten rid of curfew in 2018, I believe. But I'm getting wildly distracted. He asked how long ago it was. Just kind of answering questions at this point. Where this is our own personal group chat. But I had come in. I was, when I say mildly inebriated, I hope my old lady doesn't see this. She's going to see it anyway. I was pissed. Soju is a very different animal. That's coming from a guy who comes from a line of shiners. Soju is a very different animal. I was pissed. The European pissed, not the American pissed. I wasn't fist fighting anybody. Yes. Trashed by quote, trashed by Soju. Anybody who knows. And they 100% agree. It's a very different drunk. And it comes on at a very different time. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. If you do, you're lying. And he's like, here, try this. No warning. No nothing. Just here, try this. Him being the NCO on CQ, I thought I could trust him. He was a medic, by the way. Not like a Cav Scout or an infantryman where you'd expect him to fuck with you. Yes, quote, you don't feel it till you stand. I have so many stories. You're sitting there, you're drinking, you're having a couple drinks. Mind you, a couple drinks. A 1,500 or a 500 ml bottle is $1.50 US. And you go, you buy a couple bottles each at the, what is it? The 7-Eleven or the GS14, I think. And the locals come around and they'll sit with you. And just outside the gas station, the convenience store, you can drink. You can't drink while walking. I am. Sorry. The old lady texted me. I am sewing, damn it. But you don't notice that you are absolutely sloshed until you go to stand up. You're sitting there and you go, I gotta pee. No, I don't. You sit back down. You just wait. I am, damn it. I resemble that. You gotta remember, when I'm doing this, usually I'm alone. So, my buddy, if you watch the VOD, my buddy, who is bringing up a lot of memories that I honestly probably repressed for good reason, is commenting that, and my wife is also commenting that I need to focus more. First off, I have ADOS. It's not what you think. Attention deficit. Ooh, shiny. Second off, I'm still working. Tell me I'm not. It's not as fast as you want. You didn't even know this was happening. But, you know, show up and show me how. I dare you. You won't. Manchester. And third off, I'm still sewing. I'm not used to having conversation while I'm doing this. This is weird to me. I don't know how to people and to leather. Anyway, so I'm at the end of my stitch line here. Back to business. Drink. I'm at the end of my stitch line. I'm going to back stitch. There's one back stitch, but instead of going through both directions, I'm going to go through one layer and pull it through. And because I'm terminating the stitch, pull it tight, but I'm going to pull it with the leather so it doesn't ripple. Another back stitch. Just one stitch hole. Yes, please ask questions. I might not know it all, but if I don't know it, I'll make some shit up. I'm gonna put my other needle. Dirty little bastard. It was over there. It was in there. There we go. Where can I put this? Knickknacks. Paddywhacks. Give a dog a bones. So, quote, so with making a purse, how many areas of storing rocks or knickknacks are you making for the purse? So I'm not that fancy because I understand it's the purse. My oldest is 7. I'm not making a multi-compartment purse because I don't want to understand what a 7-year-old can find to fill a pouch this big. I want them to have one big pouch. That way, when me or the old lady finds it, we got an idea of what's coming. So I've terminated the stitch here. Plain and simple box cutter. I've said it before. Thankfully, they're terrified of bugs. So we don't have to deal with bugs in the house. It's great. A leather worker and a sheet rocker will always be best friends. Sheet rockers work with, let's see if we can, the non-covered portion of the blade. Leather workers work with the non-covered portion of the blade. So we use that much of the blade. If you're working with stupidly thick leather, that much of the blade. So I cheaped. I actually got this trick off of weaverleather.com. Leather element with Chuck Dorset. I tied a knot, and I'm gonna place that blade way down by the throat of that next to the knot. And instead of working the knife, I'm gonna work the thread back and forth. That way I don't cut my leather. Do. I'm just gonna nip the corner a little bit. Because I can do that because I'm making this shit up as I go. One, two, three, four, and it's easiest if you're trying to do this production. You want to do it a lot more financially or fiscally responsible. 4. You're gonna be tight if you're doing a saddle stitch, which I don't really have to do a saddle stitch, which is the double needle through. I could do a running stitch and then back through and do a running stitch, and that would cause enough of a lock stitch. But since it's such a niche product with a niche thread, I'm going to give it a little bit of extra and center around the bend. Let's set this up. This time I'm sewing at me. Does not matter. It's personal preference. Even out my threads. See? Sewing. My old lady heard me from the other room and was like, get sewing. Shut up, woman. Not really. I love her dearly. You didn't hear that, right? She didn't hear it. I hope. I might be sleeping on the couch. There's an E in that. She heard it. I might be sleeping on the couch tonight. It's also exceptionally distracting to have music in my ear that nobody else can hear. It's like I'm possessed or something. You hear that, right? No? I swear it's there. Sometimes you'll run into an issue because if you look at the tip of the pricking irons, they're actually a point, but they're more of a funnel than they are like a straight point. And as you're sewing, it comes kind of a pain in the dick to get through the two funnels because we're pounding in from both directions, which means the back sides are completely flat. 10. Set up in my backyard. You're not allowed. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But with the flats being together, it doesn't funnel both directions, and it kind of makes it a pain in the dick to sew sometimes, especially when you have a needle which is taking up most of the hole anyway, to finish the stitch. And if you're ever doing something like this, don't pull it too tight, or run yourself 3-4 stitches and then pull it with the seam. If you see, I pull and I go, but I'm not like straight Hulkamania, because why not too tight is the question. If you full on Hulk smash, it will ripple this seam, and it's a pain in the ass to try and fix and figure out. And it also messes with because as you go along, the stitches actually sink into the leather, and if you pull slightly harder on one side or the other, the stitches end up different lengths, and it just a whole mess of issues that you just don't want to deal with. And you just don't need that, because once I'm done with this stitching line, we'll break out ye olden tack hammer and really get those stitches set in there and just party. time. Stop! Hammer time. So confrontational. To tell the truth, I am getting away with murder. Copyright struck. You bastard! Now I've been age restricted. Great. Neighbor on a dirt bike. Four-wheeler. Pretty sure it's a dirt bike though. I'm going to cheat. So this is a knockoff of a brand called Ritza Tiger Thread. Ritza, while very expensive, is the brand for sewing. Hand sewing is 0.8 mil. You can get it in all kinds of absolutely beautiful colors. I am too cheap for that. Some people say it's frugal. I say I'm a cheap bitch. So I bought the Amazon equivalent. So it is a 0.8 to 0.9 mil pre-waxed thread. Some people swear by using linen thread that you can get at any place that has a singular sewing machine and 3 sewing needles and a piece of beeswax, and you wax it yourself. So the reason, why does it have to be waxed? Specifically for leather, the wax will actually allow the thread to lock into the consistency of the leather. It allows for a better locking, more secure sewing of the leather. If you don't use it, like if you were to use just straight linen thread, it would actually it'd act like a saw against your hand. Won't do much the first movement, but 1,000 movements later, it's going to cut straight through. Where this wax thread is actually stronger than the leather, but it locks it into place so it doesn't have a chance on the seam here, the outside, to slit and cut. Where the linen thread will allow more movement of the leather, and it'll cut the outside here. I know it's a long, convoluted answer, but that's how it was explained to me. I promise. And also, if you've ever dealt with anything waxed, you connect it to anything waxed, it's fucking sticky. Age restricted. With the seam. Square knot. Again, the throat of that blade down way by the... Didn't even move the knife. And so what I was going to show you, that's the stitch line we've made so far. we're going to come in. We got ye olden tack hammer. It just looks so much better. It flattens out. It actually, side-by-side comparison. I've hammered that out. I haven't hammered that out. Also, it allows, when you're hammering it out, it flattens the leather, which kind of, it opens the pores. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's like tenderizing meat, because that's what this is. It's the flesh of the cow. It tenderizes, so it opens the pores and makes it a lot more soft and supple. I'll trim that round later. Yeah, let's do my thread. Super scientific. You may not seem it. These are probably the best for anybody who's doing any type of thread work. The thread nippers. They're stupidly sharp, and the only thing they'll cut is thread. I don't get it. Get yourself together, get yourself together, rise. Copyright struck. And to follow back on you have a tent for me. I appreciate it, but we have a camper out in the front yard and we're trying to sell it. And she won't kick me out because then I'll just go live in the camper and she won't be able to sell it and we won't have that money. So, you know, goes both ways. I'm very sure once she sees this, she's going to have all kinds of commentary. She heard that. It's great. I love you, dear.
I love you too.
She doesn't believe me. She's watching a movie right now. And also, I don't need the commentary between you and her. Because I know you are an instigator. Okay. Anybody watching this VOD, my buddy says, get her on here, I'll defend you. No, he won't. No, he won't. he will instigate some shit, and I'll be in all kinds of hot water. And it is just, I'd rather sleep in my own, bed. I can't even control my own chat. Yes. VFam5 is my wife. Yes, she is on here. Yes, she is bolstering my viewing numbers. Yes, she is commenting when necessary. Yes, she is in the other room laughing so hard she might pee herself. I hope she does at this point. Yes, I also understand I would have to clean that up. Yes, I'm okay with it. She brought it on herself. I should have switched this around so you could see it better, but I wanted to be able to see it. Don't sing along, come together, leave alone. I really do appreciate her supporting me. Feels like cheating though. Though, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You get caught, just ain't trying hard enough. Abandon ship, spouse. Get another account. Is that supposed to be English? I mean, don't lie. Don't support him. Shame cometh upon you and your family in triplicate. I understand that your family is my family, but shame cometh upon them. Me in particular. Stop it, would you? Sorry, I'm trying to... Wow, there we go, full screen. Most people who think ahead will end up... And also, spouse. I'm like 90% sure you never met him. How do you understand his inflection? He's a weird dude. Don't gang up on me. I'm the one who brought you together. Delay. But most people would be intelligent and pre-poke these holes, the stitching holes, with the stitching awl, or the scratch awl, rather. I didn't. Maybe? That button. So I'm sewing the back side of the purse into what's called the gusset. It's the thickness. So if you have it on your hip, the gusset is actually the thickness away from your hip from one body to another. I went with, I believe, 2 inches. Why? Couldn't tell you. Felt right at the time. I need a little jiggle. And man, genuinely, I wish I was a lightweight. Coming from a guy who has the tolerance of a flex fuel vehicle, I wish I was a lightweight. Doesn't sound right, but you picked the thickness? I guess it really did feel right. And spouse, if you hear this, you can come visit. If you want to be on camera, you can come visit. That way we can actually chat and I'm not talking to an empty room awkwardly. Well, still awkwardly. But anyway, yes, I wish I was a lightweight. From a guy who has the tolerance of a flex fuel vehicle. Being a cheap date would be great. Not having to wait for any type of inebriation until you're a 6-pack in. It's great at a bar. 1 marg. Simple square knot. Thread over the kniffy. The reason I have this is for a different video. Eventually, I will show you the process for the reasoning for having this honestly rather expensive, very specific use tack hammer. For now, I'm gonna smack some stitches with it. And corner, stretch out them pores a little bit. A little softer. See how it bends around a little bit nicer than that? It just stretches that leather out a little bit. Expresses them pores. Very scientific. It's coming together. It really is. The reason I smacked the end of the thread there is so it compresses down. It gets real tight. Because again, construction hands. I've hit a lot of people in my life, so my hands aren't exactly straight. They're not exactly stable. And also, I've had a lot of caffeine today. It's not caffeine, but I've had a lot of caffeine today, and it ends up giving me the shakes. We won't talk about that. So I need all the help I can get. And I'm going to cheat. I have another one around here somewheres. There we go. Brand spanking new stitch all, or scratch all. I put this through probably 15 pieces of leather. Literally. So when I was doing this, I took the two body pieces and I placed them together. And I pounded them with my pricking irons into my poundo board. So if you look, I shouldn't have pounded those. We'll ignore that part. If you look, that's a lot. It's like a funnel. Where this piece, real flat, it makes it real hard to get the sewing needle into it. So I use a scratch awl. Got a little glue on it. Boop. Just to widen the hole, just a hair. Just a touch. And yes, spouse, it really is coming together. I got a fair few minutes left on this, but we're doing a little chatting. We're doing a little work, and to continue the look of the stitch line, instead of starting here where I miss Yes. So as I pound the stitches, if you saw, they got wider. I'm not actually cutting any new hole. It's like when you do this, it stretches a little bit. Or when you get it like an IV or blood drawn, it kind of punctures, but also mostly just stretches the skin. Same concept. It's more stretching than anything. And then when I pound it, when the pores expand, it covers the hole right up. But instead of going into the next hole where it looks like I missed a stitch, I'm actually going to go into the previous stitch, knowing that I'm going to have to pull through a little bit. And I'm not using my stitching pony because there's a lot of curve here. And I need the movement of the leather. After having back stitched, so it's not going in, so I'm going to and it's just, you watch, going into the hole. I'm there. Boop. Just enough. Like if you look, there's a stitch-auld hole, there's not. It's negligible amounts of stretch, but it's just enough for both of my needles to get through. So I'm barely even stretching the leather, let alone any type of cutting. But just enough. You saw me struggling before. Now I'm not struggling. Well, I'm struggling, but it's the loop. So I'm going through with not only a needle, but a double thickness thread. And yes, this is my spouse, my old lady. Love her to death. This is the only time she learns about leather anymore, because if she asked about it when we were in person, I would talk her ear off for an hour and a half, because yes, I love it that much. To me, it's therapeutic. And I don't talk to her about it because I don't want it to become a bother to her. I know the wonderful woman she is. She wouldn't think it's a bother, but I don't want to give her the chance for her to resent it. So she asked me questions here. We chat like this, and she can go away at any point. I'm sure you're getting great visual of this. I got body, body gusset. And I'm going to hammer out this corner gusset here a little bit, and I'm going to clean up the edges. But I'm going to try and at least tonight get through this stitching, maybe do a little bit of edge dressing. I won't get into, I call it edge cleaning. Don't pull my needle. Don't pull the thread out of the needle. Exactly. She says, but this way, if I'm talking about it, she can't physically see it. Where here, she can hear what I'm talking about. She can ask questions, but she can also see what I'm doing. So it might help her stick a little bit. And that's why I can't get enough of her, because she cares enough to want to see it. The hardest part is getting those needles crossed away from each other, because when you're pushing through, they're going to follow the same path. If you look there, which needle is which? You don't know, neither do I. Grab both needles, grab both threads, cross them, push them through. Now I know which ends. And leather needles like this, they're blunt. Doesn't mean they're not sharp, because they're meant to go through leather. And I've told my old lady this. Hey, you know what you're made out of? Untanned leather. That's why you'll always see me, if I'm dyeing leather, I go through a shit ton of gloves. They're non-sterile, but they're still same style gloves. Because I don't want to be mahogany leather dye color. I don't want to be black leather dye. Needles are the same way. And you're more apt, especially when sewing freehand. I call this freehand, not using the stitching pony. To poke yourself. While blunt, it still sucks. Into the ground, beating me down, beating me down, down, into the ground. Copyright struck. Probably gonna have a lot of those because I have little to no self-control, and we'll end up singing songs. Ale horn. Yeah, when you're dealing with such a tight radius curve here, it sounds like a nice idea to have. Sorry, comment was freehand sewing. Yes, it is tough because you have no stability, but she could see how the stitching pony would get in the way. And yes, it would, because you're dealing with such a tight radius with a straight line here. Curves and lines don't mix. Copyright struck. And again, line, you gotta get them crossed, pushed past each other. Because I ain't trying to get stabbed repeatedly every time I pull the thread through. This is probably the toughest part of the entire thing. Is this curve right here, because you're dealing with two flat pieces cut here, and this is a whole nother flat piece, and you're combining 3 different flat pieces in that much space. That much. Now that I'm getting more to a line, a straight line, I'm actually thinking about carving some eyes in, because I know how everybody says boys are tough on stuff. Girls are also tough on stuff. And if I try to go, the question was, or comment was, ooh, that looks really nice. When are you going to glue the Google eyes on? I'm not gluing googly eyes on, not because I don't think that would be funny, but because as soon as those googly eyes fall off, I'm going to have to deal with the tears. I don't want to deal with the tears. Blunt needles. Yes, absolutely blunt. Definitely will not puncture your skin. I'm just trying to get these. I got 3 more stitches to do now that I've gotten to the straight line, and I'll deal with the after the corner on the next piece of thread. Most times people will try to do all of it in one piece. I don't like that because it's a lot of thread. It's convoluted stitching. And also, why? this way, if this piece of thread breaks, I can cut it out. The rest of the thread is still intact, and I can re-sew it. Or if I use one piece of thread, I have to re-sew the entire side back on. That's at least my justification. And the comment was, makes sense. I'd be so angry if my thread broke. Using this, because this is a lot thinner than this is. And that's before I add the wax to this, because it thins out as I add wax to it. I use my beeswax block, and I actually add wax to it. And it thins out a lot. It gets a little bit stronger, but I get a little bit too aggressive with the pulls. And I snap the thread like halfway through my stitching line. So I'll be like here and snap the thread, and I will throw a temper tantrum like a 5-year-old, because I have to pull every single stitch back out and restart from step 1. Should I throw a temper tantrum like a 5-year-old? No. Do I anyway? Absolutely. Grown-ass adult. Throw a temper tantrum like a 5-year-old if I feel like it. And sometimes, ow, it gets a little bit caught, because when I backstitch, I have to go through a hole that's not even designed for 2 needles to go through. Now I have to take it back through a hole that's already got a piece of thread through it, and use another double, because it folds back over the needle. And sometimes I need a little motivation for it to go through. So my needle motivators. There's a knife. And I've become the type of person, I'm sure my wife loves it, but I'm the type of person that if I lose something, like a box cutter, I'm gonna buy a big pack of them. So I went on Amazon. Still gonna take that out. And bought a big pack of box cutters. Now I have a bunch of them. So that's unpounded thread. Here, that's pounded thread. That's why I do it. It flattens it out. It expands the pores out. And it softens the leather, but it also locks those stitches into place. And that's after I hit it with a hammer. And again, my super scientific method of measurement. Don't ask me how I can see those, because I can't actually. I got lucky. Going through the last hole. Got lucky there. Yes. You're not going to get all that good of a visual. That's what I'm talking about with the stitch awl, or scratch awl, rather. And I'm moving it in 1/16 to 1/8. It really helps if you don't put your scratch awl in a really soft, tender spot under your fingernail. It really does. Now, sometimes I'll scratch all of them. Sometimes I'll just needle through and wiggle the shit out of it like that. works back into conformation. Got a real short run here. My thread is also getting shorter as I go, obviously. Try not to do real short runs like this, because just going through 2 full-length needles like this, it's a pain in the dude. Yeah, especially full-length needles can be a pain, especially if you poke them into your skin. Copyright struck. You might actually be surprised how much that little bit of wiggle makes the difference. You might not. generally I try to leave a little bit more tail than this, because that, but sometimes it just don't work out. Now, sure. Never been so successful at threading needles in my life. Some riveting content here. Needle threading. I'm sure there's like a German or a Polish needle threading competition or something. No, I will not needle more, because needling more generally involves miniature holes in my skin. Jiggle, jiggle. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Copyright struck. It's not actually the music I'm listening to. It just seemed appropriate at the time. Should I do music next round? Like, I know where I can get some lo-fi that I can just play on my computer. It won't get me copyright struck. I'd love to play y'all music, but I've tried that before and I got copyright struck many times on one video. Like, never see the light of day type of copyright struck. feel like it's got to be really boring sitting there just doing nothing. Go drunk, you're home again. Figured as much. I see the issue, and the comment was after, should I play some music? The comment was, it's not super bad without music. Just talk more about leather stuff. I don't know what to say. Like I'm in my own head. I'm listening to tunes. Right here. Raycon for the win, by the way. But I'm so in my own head that I can't even, like, I barely even realize that I'm on camera. So I'm basically just talking to myself. So I'm repeating everything that I know. So what leather projects am I working on? Right now I'm doing obviously this, and I'm gonna work a little bit on off camera because 3 miniatures means at least 2 bags, if not all 3. And then we might do a little bit with some book binding. All the way from flat paper and a piece of leather. I might make some leather journals for the girls. I'll be honest with you, I tried it once before with the old lady, and she absolutely adores her journal. For designs, I haven't really decided. I'm thinking I might actually have them draw me something on the proper size of paper, and then I'll carve it into the leather, which it uses what's called a swivel knife here. You put your blade here and you carve, or really shallow cuts. You're carving the leather. I thought they would enjoy that. Make it truly their own to, really make them enjoy it. Kinda, yeah. It's kind of like tracing. It's like it's more akin to a freehand drawing after seeing an image, if that makes sense. There's a lot of tracing involved, but there's a lot of, does this feel right? It's going to look a lot like tracing, but it's kind of, like I said, it's more akin to freehand drawing, because I'm going to trace it onto the leather, but then I got to do kind of what the leather tells me, because certain portions are going to be more spongy, certain portions are going to be harder, and it just won't carve as well. And also just tracing the pattern from a 7-year-old is going to be kind of a pain in the dick. So, I'm just going to kind of make it up as I go. And here I am at the end of my stitch line. Done stitching. Do my back stitch real quick. And I'll check what kind of time we got. There, cocksucker. Pull that stitch good and tight, but not rippling. Means that I'm in a real tight radius curve here. I'm going to have to negotiate it. Now that I'm done stitching entirely, your back stitch. I'm at 2:15-ish. So I'm gonna start with my edge care. And there's 99 ways to skin a cat. I take the cheater's way. And yes, I left this long because this is my end body. I'm leaving this long because I'm probably going to rivet my strap here. I don't know where I want. I might cut this way down into the throat here just to give me some rigidity. I might cut it off flat here and let it flex up. I don't know yet. We're going to do a little bit of edge care. Like I said, 99 ways to skin a cat. I take the cheater's way. A lot of times you'll see people... Where's my slicker? Where's my slicker? I just recently used it. If I find it here in a second, I'll pull it out. But it's a big monstrosity of a thing. It's 2 slick edges. I want to get them flat, so I'm going to cheat. Use a little bit of sandpaper. And this is a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. You probably should be wearing a mask. Because you are flinging animal flesh in a near aerosolized way. I just don't have one, so I'm not going to. I just keep blowing it away from me a little bit. And this is just to make the two layers the same length. Because if you look, there's a little bit of a lip there. And now they're the same. Like that. It's a real rough cut, but no, not so rough. And it's just, at this point, it's kind of, there's a little bit of a science to it, but really it's kind of just do what your heart tells you. You know, because I can take away most, like, I got a little aggressive there. But this edge, I'm re-dyeing the edge anyway, so I might as well get it. Sorry, as close as possible. And the trick to, if you're doing this, is always keep the sander moving. Because if you stop, you'll burrow a hole. You'll cut a groove. Yes, rules for thee, not for me. And I understand that breathing in animal flesh is not a good thing. I just don't have one now. And it's either I cut it a little bit early or I deal with it. And I figure I'd deal with it because I've dealt with enough toxins in my life. What's one more? And if you watch, I'm always moving. And I do have a vent fan going in the background. It's real soft, but it moves enough air that it clears it out fairly well. is just a battery powered Dremel. Clear that out a little bit. Now I have basically a grinding stone. Maybe. It takes the edges off. It goes from square to rounded. It helps with edge dressing. It helps with a more professional look. Definitely not a professional. Try to be. But it also helps with smoothness. And the reason I'm holding it this way now is solely for now it is spinning the dust away from me. And as you look, the wide gap, it actually kind of brings the gap, the seam down. It marries that seam up a little bit. another reason for the wax thread is as the edge heats up when I'm using this Dremel, it will actually melt the wax. Unlike the knot is right there. But as I heat it up with this stone, one, it's making this stupid smooth, but it's also heating that knot up and melting the wax together to really lock that knot in place. There's another knot. You can see the spread, so squeeze that together. Really heat that edge up. Melt the wax down. And you can even see how smooth it is. So you start there, pinch it. Oh, look how smooth it is. You got something like that. Let me finish this up here. Going with an edge like that. And down to that. I promise you, I appreciate you watching, brother. I promise you I will get better at warning 24 hours before I start, or at least 12 hours before I start streaming. And I will also try to, the morning before I start streaming, I'll come down here, because my workshop's in my basement. I'll come down here and I'll give a little blip saying, hey, I'm starting soon, starting tonight. And I'll give it time. Thank you. Okay, so now that everybody's gone, I'll wrap this up. We got the starting of the edge done. Next time we will do a little bit of hammer work because I feel like it. Do a little bit more edge work. Bring in some other products. Really get this thing shaped up. Get it looking like an actual purse. Since my webcam is not working. Thank you. Anybody who sees this, anybody who watches, thank you. I can't say it enough, thank you. Know that you are loved. You have someone to call. Keep going.